Hello and welcome back to the Honour Space and to another edition of AEW Dynamite Out of 10. A rare Tuesday coming from AEW's long-time home, Daily's Place in Jacksonville. Adam Page and Samoa Joe met to discuss their upcoming world title bout, and of course we got several more stuff on the card as well. But we did start things off with that. Page started the conversation questioning why Joe lost his call last week and explaining that he gave him his shout out of respect and gratitude. Joe did not say in the show the same in response. The Cowboy promised to outwit him when it mattered in the ring at Wrestle Dream. This was great, particularly from Joe. While Hangman cut a strong promo driven by rising emotions, it was his rival's restraint that spoke volumes. He let the champion get his first and last word while never losing his calm demeanour. At some point, like the aftermatch, Joe will fully articulate what he is after it when it comes to Hangman. For now, this is speculation, but this face-to-face either worked to push Hangman to a more emotionally vulnerable place or to bring Joe out for what he is. The Samoan submission machine built the Ops as a testing ground for the entire roster. This challenge has a similar vibe. If the Battle Guy can't overcome this challenge, he has not proved himself to Joe as worthy, no matter what else has happened. All of this to say Hangman and Joe fully sold this match, and yeah, very much looking forward to when we get to it. As our first match tonight was Ishii with vicious focus to stay in a fight with Moxley, but he could only take so much. The Death Rider sealed the win with a Death Rider and Bulldog choke, forcing a ref stoppage. Unsurprisingly, this is great help by a committed crowd that respect Ishii's fight. The best part of the Stone Pitbull's game is his resiliency. He kept fighting through hits and refused to take the disrespect of the Death Rider at any point. His established legacy made it believable Mox would have trouble keeping him down. If anything, Ishii was never as close to beating Mox's recent opponents, but it pointed to the respect that Ishii gave him in a great battle here. 7 out of 10. As we then moved on to a street fight between the Hurt Syndicate and the Demand. While the Demand gave the Hurt Syndicate a fight, Lashley took out Khan and Leona outside, leaving Benjamin to German suplex Ricochet through the table for the win. This was fully wrestled as a brawl, including constant action and impact. It made for a stronger seconds clash than their match at All Out, which is already one of the best in the Hurt Syndicate have had. The result does hurt the Demand's growing momentum, but the story only made sense to lead to this result. The Hurt Syndicate couldn't lose a match like this. They need to be seen as dominant forces, and hopefully we can see another match. Ricochet and Gates and Agony got their win at All Out, and yet be intriguing to see how they respond from this. 6 out of 10. We then got Jurassic Express versus KM and Orion. Perry and Luchasaurus got right back into action, dominating and winning with the countdown to extinction. Afterwards, the Young Bucks ran down to take out the Jurassic Express, challenging into a match at Wrestle Dream. It was easy to cross, so that was hardly the point. The Scapegoat and the Dinosaur have chemistry, but it will be truly tested until the Bucks match. The booking for now sold that Perry is the man calling shots, but he was the first man in a while to respectfully do so with Luchasaurus. AEW probably could have waited to Wrestle Dream to give their first match back, but it's great to see them, and of course it's going to be a very interesting match with the Bucks All Out. For this alone, it gets a 5 out of 10 from me. As we then moved on to Carl Fletcher versus Kyle O'Reilly for the TNT Championships. O'Reilly attacked the knee of Fletcher, who almost fell short against his veteran competition. He needed 2 brainbusters to seal the win. Fletch called the family afterwards, beginning a growing brawl that ended with Briscoe sending off with Fletcher. Backstage, Paquette told the Protest Star he would defend against Briscoe at Wrestle Dream. While it lacked the vibrant crowd energy of their first clash, it was a better performance from both men, clearly more ready for wild matches. In particular, O'Reilly forced the Protest Stars to work a variety of styles in this contest, shuffling the speed throughout. The limb work of KR was particularly strong, putting the champ on the defensive almost all the way to the end. The next challenge is Briscoe, who has multiple great matches with Fletcher, and Wrestle Dream will be no different. In particular, he needs to sell that Mark might be the one to dethrone Fletcher. 7 out of 10. But moving on into Mercedes Moné versus Lacey Lane for the TBS title. Lane and Mercedes struggling to keep up with her high octane pace throughout, but the CAO refused to go down and got the win with a Monet maker. While this was little drama in this result, it was a strong match. The former Caden Carter was mostly a tag wrestler in WWE, but this doesn't currently have a partner to be up with. Despite this, she looked good working off the CEO. Her moves look crispier than most in WWE, likely helped by how good Mercedes is. It's unclear if AEW will sign Lane, but she could do with the experience. She's done well in her early efforts in ROH and now AEW, and definitely could add something. Assuming former teammate Cartana Chance not following her to AEW, she could fit with another high-profile flyer such as Riho or Sakazaki. I'm going to give this a 6 out of 10. We then got Double Jeopardy, Brodido versus Okada and Takeshita. And yeah, they simply overwhelmed Bandito, taking advantage of Bandito's shoulder injury. The Rainmaker took the Alpha's win, blind tagging in before hitting the Rainmaker to win. Bandito versus Okada and Takeshi was a preview match, but nowhere near the peak of these four men. Since they set the stage for Wrestle Dream rematch, everyone was slightly held back. This was especially true of Okada, who took advantage of his own issues with Konosuke to force the Alpha to do the heaviest flying. Bandito also worked compromise, shoulder injury that set up the champions to believably lose. King and Bandito consoled their story at Wrestle Dream, and yeah, Okada and Takeshi don't have obvious team synergy yet, so it's going to be an intriguing match. 6 out of 10. As we then moved on to Pac versus Cassidy, and after a wild battle, Pac caught Cassidy with a tombstone pile driver in the crowd. Darby cuffed the bastard to the railing. Pac barely escaped and got back to avoid a count out, but he ran right into a leg trap pin for the free. Afterwards, Pac charged after the Daredevil, joining by the Death Riders until Alan pulled out of a Moldova cocktail. Security intervened to avoid anyone suffering serious harm. One of AEW's longest running rivalries was renewed in the main event of Dynamite, and both these men worked as hard as ever, and particularly Cassidy got more serious in the match than even his battle with Fletcher. It's clear how much both men wanted to beat each other. It's one of AEW's best TV contests in a long while, and the result was a surprise. All signs pointed towards the bastard getting a win, but Alan's timely interference played a key role. Pac looked phenomenal in his return. He remains to see one of the best big match performers in the company. He can take a loss in his stride and build momentum against another opponents. Cassidy, meanwhile, picks up a nice win. He can build off into the future. It's hard to see where it goes, but he has plenty of interesting old and new roles to work with between the Death Riders and Don Callis family. So yeah, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. Overall, AEW Dynamite this week gets a 6 out of 10 from me. Sometimes expectations do matter, and AEW put a lot of weight on this card. Not everything landed as strongly as it should have. Still, the end result is a major positive, and I think we are very much turning Wrestle Dream into a must-see event, which was kind of the goal leading into it. So yeah, on the whole, pretty happy with how this show was. I'm going to 6 out of 10. This video. Thanks very much for watching. Remember to like, share, subscribe, follow us on our socials, link in the description below for daily wrestling news, meme and content. Subscribe to our other channels on screen right now, that'd be greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching. Peace out.